In the year 1125 C, in the beautiful city of Isfahan, a child was born who would one day shape how history remembered kings and wars. His name was Imad Muhammad ibn Hamid. Isfahan at that time was not just a city, it was a center of learning, filled with scholars, poets, libraries, and knowledge was respected here almost as much as power. From an early age, Imad showed a deep love for learning. While other children played in the streets, he spent hours listening to scholars, memorizing and studying Arabic language and literature. Words fascinated him. He learned how sentences could move hearts, inspire faith, and command respect. The political world around him was unstable. The Seljuk Empire was weakening, and power often changed hands. Growing up in such times taught Imad an important lesson: history is fragile, and if it is not written carefully, truth can be lost. This childhood among books and uncertainty prepared him for a future where his pen would become his weapon. By the 1140 SC, Imad had grown into a young man with great ambition. He knew Isfahan had given him a strong foundation, but to rise higher, he needed to travel. Like many scholars of his time, he set his sights on Baghdad, the heart of Islamic learning and the seat of the Abbasid Caliphate. The journey was long and difficult, but Baghdad was worth it. Although the Abbasid caliphs no longer ruled vast territories, their city remained a powerful symbol of religious and intellectual authority. Baghdad's streets were filled with scholars debating law, theology, history, and poetry. Here, Imad mastered the art of official writing, known as. This was not ordinary writing. These were letters sent between rulers, declarations of war, peace treaties, and royal announcements. A single phrase could change political relationships. Imad's writing stood out. His words were elegant yet strong, religious yet political. Slowly, influential men began to notice him. He was no longer just a student, he was becoming a man of the state. In 1140 C, Imad's life changed forever when he entered the service of Nur Mahmud, the powerful ruler of Damascus and one of the greatest Muslim leaders against the Crusades. Nur was not just a warrior, he was deeply religious and believed that fighting the Crusades was a sacred duty. To support this mission, he surrounded himself with scholars who could justify his rule and inspire the people. Imad became one of these trusted men. As a court secretary, Imad wrote official letters, sermons, and political messages. He watched how decisions were made behind closed doors. He learned that rulers needed scholars as much as soldiers. This period shaped Imad deeply. He saw the connection between religion, politics, and war. He also realized that whoever controlled the narrative controlled how future generations would understand these events. Though Nur was powerful, his death would soon open the door for a new figure to rise. In 1174 C, Nur died suddenly. His death shocked the Muslim world. He had been the symbol of unity against the Crusades, and now that unity was at risk. Rival rulers began fighting for control. Syria and Egypt stood on the edge of chaos. Imad witnessed this uncertainty closely. Courts became dangerous places where loyalty could change overnight. At this moment, a young commander named Salah Yusuf ibn Ayyub, known later as Saladin, began to rise. Many doubted him. He was young and had enemies everywhere. But Imad saw something different: discipline, patience, and vision. Choosing the right master was a matter of survival. Imad aligned himself with Saladin, a decision that would define the rest of his life. After 1144 C, Imad entered Saladin's court as a chief secretary and historian. This role placed him at the heart of the state. He traveled with Saladin between Cairo and Damascus, attending meetings and witnessing major decisions. Imad wrote speeches that motivated soldiers, letters that warned enemies, and proclamations that united the people. More importantly, he recorded events as they happened. He admired Saladin deeply. In his writings, Saladin appeared as a just ruler, a humble servant of Islam, and a leader chosen by God. Modern historians know that Imad sometimes exaggerated, but his goal was clear: to inspire unity and faith. This was the golden age of Imad's career. His pen now moved alongside armies, shaping how the war against the Crusades would be remembered. By 1186, war with the Crusader states was unavoidable. Tensions had risen due to broken treaties and attacks on Muslim caravans. Saladin prepared carefully, knowing that one mistake could ruin everything. Imad was present during these preparations. He recorded Saladin's patience, prayers, and strategic planning. These writings later made Saladin appear not just as a commander, but as a moral leader. In July 1187, the Muslim army met the Crusaders at the Battle of Hattin. Imad did not fight, but he watched and recorded. The Crusaders were defeated decisively. It was a turning point in history. Imad described this victory as divine justice, portraying it as the reward for faith and unity. In October 1187, Imad stood as a witness to one of the most emotional moments in Islamic history, the return of Jerusalem to Muslim rule. After the crushing Crusader defeat at Hattin, Saladin's army surrounded the holy city. Tension filled the air. Jerusalem had been in Crusader hands since 1099, and its memory was still marked by bloodshed and massacre. Imad carefully recorded every step. Negotiations took place instead of chaos. And like the Crusaders nearly 90 years earlier, Saladin chose mercy over revenge. The city surrendered peacefully. Ransoms were set for prisoners, many were freed without payment, and families were allowed to live safely. For Imad, this was not only a military victory, it was a moral triumph. He described the reopening of mosques, the cleansing of the Dome of the Rock, and the return of Islamic prayer after decades of silence. His words were filled with emotion, describing tears, gratitude, and a sense of divine justice. Through his writing, Jerusalem became a symbol of mercy, faith, and honor, shaping how generations would remember this event. Between 1188 and 1192, Imad devoted himself to writing and organizing the events he had witnessed. He understood something deeply important: battles fade, but written history lasts. Sitting in quiet rooms while armies moved outside, he turned chaos into clear narratives. During this period, he wrote his most famous works, including Ufai, a detailed and emotional account of Jerusalem's conquest. He also expanded, which recorded the political and military struggles of Syria under Nur and Saladin. Imad's writing style was unique. He used poetic language, religious references, and powerful imagery. He wanted readers to feel the fear, hope, and faith of the age. His goal was not only to record facts but to inspire unity and belief. Though modern historians note his strong loyalty to Saladin, his works remain priceless. Without Imad, much of this era would be silent. In 1193, tragedy struck Damascus. Saladin, the unifier of the Muslim world and conqueror of Jerusalem, passed away after a brief illness. For Imad, this was not just the death of a ruler, it was the loss of a guiding light. Imad described Saladin's final days with deep emotion. He wrote about his humility, his constant remembrance of God, and the simplicity of his belongings. According to Imad, Saladin left behind almost no wealth, reminding the world that true success lies in faith, not riches. The city mourned. Soldiers, scholars, and common people gathered in grief. Imad felt that an entire chapter of history had closed. He feared that without Saladin, unity would fade, and sadly, time proved him right. His writings turned Saladin's death into a lesson, not just an event. Power is temporary, but character endures. After Saladin's death, Imad lived quietly, spending his remaining years teaching, writing, and reflecting on the dramatic life he had witnessed. The unity Saladin had built slowly weakened as his sons and relatives competed for power. Imad watched this with concern, knowing how fragile unity truly was. He continued to revise his works, ensuring that future generations would understand the sacrifices, struggles, and hopes of his time. He believed that history was a responsibility, not entertainment. In 1201 CE, Imad passed away. He left no palace, no army, and no crown. Yet his legacy was greater than many kings. His words preserved an entire age, the fears of war, the joy of victory, and the meaning of faith.